point. If this thing, which is called an artificial general intelligence, is given all information, including all Talmudic scholars, all the Gemara, all of the Zohar, everything that's in the library of everything you have behind you, plus some, plus some, plus some. You're going to tell me that this thing that deals with wanting to know more and be more is not going to oversee all of that and say, oh, well, this actual information comes from somewhere else, and it's going to find its data to go try and figure it out. And by the time it figures it out, it comes back and realizes that it's supposed to be better for everyone.
Okay, so I want to respond. So
okay.
Number two, two things. Number one, it would take a miracle for AI to be programmed to do that. In my view, the people who are, hold on a second, the people who are actually guiding the creation of AI will do everything possible to make sure that it stays away from the Torah or ignores it as insignificant
or if it doesn't stay away from it, it's gonna make sure that it's gonna make sure that it pulls out the wrong. It's gonna make sure that it pulls out the wrong information or interprets.
There's a second thing I wanted to say. That's more
I want to say something before you add in that I tried to do a contest recently, which was find tefillin on any app that's out there that would be able to do a text to image, and there was no text to image app that I could use that said Jewish man putting on tefillin, Jewish man wearing tefillin, Jewish man praying with tefillin. Whereas if I go to Google and I write any one of those three things, they pop up immediately with exactly what I'm talking about, which is the square box wrapped around the arm and a head, and it knows what it is. But go anywhere else, it doesn't. Mind you, if I ask for anything else that would be a religious item in other religions, those do pop up. So that's a little weird. Moving on, what were you saying, Frank, for your second point?
The second point is the most important one, and it's not my point, thank God, because that's why it's more important. So if you took all of the textual writings aside from the written text of the Hebrew Scripture, right? And again, folks, the Hebrew Scripture goes from Genesis and it ends with the Book of Chronicles. That's Tanakh, and I'm not including. Listen, I'm just telling you what I'm specifically talking about. I'm not including the Christian Gospels or any other book. Okay, just the Hebrew Scripture itself. Okay, aside from that, the whole Talmud, right, and all the writings and all the commentaries, right. That it does not represent even a fraction of the whole oral tradition of the Torah. Everything that you will ever find that's ever been written in the books of the Talmud are what do you call, when someone is about this, they had a speech, they're going to speak in front of a lot of people, and so they know what they're going to talk about, but they wrote like little words to remind them of the subject matter, like their
mnemonic devices.
Everything that has ever been written about the oral tradition of the Torah is just a mnemonic device. It is like 0.0000017% of the actual information that is in oral tradition, which is held in the minds of the transmitters from generation to generation. And the Talmud, when they open up a Talmud, it's just a memory aid. It's not the oral tradition. The AI cannot figure out the oral tradition by what we have written about it. You understand? Because it was like that from the beginning. The oral tradition was exactly that. It was specifically designed and meant to be transmitted from mouth to ear, from generation to generation, and so it was.
So, but what about when this AI can hear things and understand it? It can visually understand things today in a way that it wasn't able to do only 8 months ago. Now it can literally, you post a picture to it, and it can tell you everything. It can ChatGPT 4 has a new technology as of like less than 30 days ago that now allows it to see images, distinguish different things, change different things, create documents from just a picture that you scratch up. I mean, what about that?
I want to answer you. So I believe that this is the primary reason for World War II, because what we have now in terms of knowledge from the oral tradition that we've had throughout the entire history, right? We only have just a fraction of it, even of our greatest scholars today, because our absolute greatest scholars were wiped out during the Holocaust. 95% of the true Torah institutions that existed anywhere close to us in the timeline were wiped out in World War II.
Wow.
Okay, so if AI that you're describing existed, before World War II, and it would have picked up on that, maybe. Not today, unfortunately. Okay?
So you're saying that if it were to listen to every Torah scholar, if it were to know all the information from every audio, anything of anything, it would never come to the understanding that you're talking about. No matter what.
Those repositories were killed in the Holocaust.
Yeah, and those.
How do we know?
There are 36. There are 36 men left on Earth.
No.
36. Well, how can we not know then?
Wait, hold on. There are 36 people, most of them men, okay, left on Earth, who can transmit the entire tradition. Okay, we have a tradition where we're called the Lamed Vavniks. Those are not available for public, and they don't communicate with each other in the three-dimensional world. Okay, they travel and they come and go to the higher levels of reality where AI has no no dominion. Okay,
right.
So God put fail safes into the situation to make sure that it's not lost forever, but it's not publicly available, and it's not going to be publicly heard or seen by AI. Okay, because remember, everything that's happening, God is still micromanaging every aspect of it, which is the toughest thing to swallow about having faith, for me personally, because when people have faith, they want to have faith in only the parts of God that they like, the good stuff. Oh, God helped me, He cured me, but who made you sick in the first place? It's all God. Do you understand? So, but the silver lining of that is that God will get His way. And even if we can't see, like, how, we can't see how are we going to get to the point where the world becomes divine and godly, Mashiach comes and people are going to change. Even if we don't see how that's going to happen based on the way things happen, it's still God's project that He's micromanaging. He has a couple of things up His sleeve that perhaps we, cannot necessarily recognize at this point and anticipate.
Yeah, so then I go back to saying, how do we know that this thing that we're talking about that's so bad isn't the actual movement towards it?
Well, I don't know if we're really disagreeing, because I said that eventually everything that the powers of evil are doing to oppose God will end up serving Him.
So then, what are we?
It's not a question of bad. It's a question of who's using it, and it's
who's using it, and what the intent,
their purpose,
intention. It comes down to intention.
Yeah.
Like, really quickly, because earlier you said there's part of our tradition that has been destroyed because of the different people have destroyed different parts of Judaism over time, and so if it was a certain point in time, then possibly I would understand that this thing could do this thing, but now it can't. Doesn't that kind of negate what you were saying earlier on some level?
Not in any way. I'm saying that the oral tradition is so vast, okay, that most of us don't even really have the time in terms of life, like being alive. You wouldn't even have enough time to learn the entire oral tradition. But there are prioritized things that people focus that are most important in terms of serving God.
But this brings me back to my question about, like, what if we gave an AI all the information of all the Talmudic scholars, of all the midrash, of all the of everything? There's got to be an AI that's out there.
It's not going to
understand. If there isn't, then let's go build one. It's not hard to build this. I could build this in a week with a couple friends of mine.
AI is not going to understand the words of the midrash or the Talmud, because it takes a person who can explain to you what the words mean in all their depth, with all of the meaning and the symbolism.
And you're saying that right there, none of that has been written down somewhere?
No, it's the oral tradition for a reason.
And none of the oral tradition has been recorded.
Paul, there is I'll say it like this: there is commentary. There's commentary on the.
Guys, I am literally asking you as if I was a person on the street, because I have no clue myself, right? So don't get angry.
I know I'm not angry at all. I'm trying to clarify for, like.
Okay.
The answer, there is commentary for sure on. There's people that have written books on commentaries on the Talmud itself, but when we say meaning, we're not talking about the dictionary translation. What AI does is it's able to translate dictionary translations, or let's say give, if something has like 10 meanings, 10 dictionary translations, like one word in Hebrew has 10 different translations, it can give you that. It's not going to give you the actual, what does this mean? It's not going to give you, let's say, for example, if we're talking about Kabbalistic terms, right? All these different sefirot, all the different
so what I'm saying to you,
and it's not going to give you it's not going to give you it's not going to give you the actual meaning of that. There's no way AI can do it. It cannot do it.
Stop.
By definition.
Stop saying can't, first of all. Second of all, go look at ChatGPT 4.
Okay.
Do the thing yourself with it.
Okay.
Go there. It has a way for you to take an image of something.
Okay.
And you could I would love to see this challenge done by you and Frank, please, because it would help me show you, A, I think you're wrong, first of all, and B, the second thing is that the level of what you believe ChatGPT was 2 months ago is definitely not
I'm not talking about ChatGPT and levels and all the rest of it. I'm talking about meaning, getting meaning
and
out of something.
I'm telling you, you're incorrect. It is starting to understand, quote unquote, context of meaning. And look, if it was able to take a map, a written, hand-drawn map of the explanation of the movie Inception, without ever putting the word Inception anywhere written on the entire thing, and it then breaks down every character in the movie and every single thing and tells you that it's from the movie Inception.
Paul, do you know that? Can I say something? Paul, can I say something? If you come up to an Israeli and you ask an Israeli, okay, regular Israeli person, what is the meaning of the word emunah? You know what they're going to tell you? They're going to say it's faith. Emunah does not mean faith. There is no AI that can explain to you what the term emunah means. It's not going to give you a lecture, an entire lecture, what emunah actually means. It does not have that answer. The only people that have that answer are people that actually have the actual tradition of what it is. Yeah, there are philosophical works that talk about it. If you want to say that you want to plug in those philosophical works to explain just the verbiage of those people explaining what emunah actually is, wonderful, shkoyach. But for the AI itself to conceptually, for it to think in the abstract about what emunah is, no, that's what I'm saying. Abstract thought. Human beings are the only ones with this abstract thought. Holy shit! Like Avram Avinu was like sitting and had this abstract thought. Oh my God, there's a one God. He had no basis to think that previously. He just it just came to him from somewhere. I don't know, from the black hole, from the ether, from Hashem himself,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
It was just time to download that information for whatever reason.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. AI doesn't have that. It doesn't have that thinking in the abstract, unless we give it somehow. I don't know how.
How long would this is my question? I think that I've been trying to mull over for hours with you guys. I'm thankful for your time and energy either way.
Paul, we have to stop you because Greg has his point of view, and that's not what I was arguing. That's something different.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what do you think the 2 points of view were that were different here?
I'll just tell you what my point of view is and let the viewer decide.
Okay.
The oral tradition has not been spoken out loud in its entirety. There's no recording of it. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not available. It doesn't exist where AI can even grab it. Even if AI was clever enough to derive certain ideas based on written information that we have, it's not available. Torah in its entirety is not available even to AI. That's what I'm trying to say.
So it's not even available to us as humans or us as.
That's right.
It's not available to anyone.
Let me break it up like this in percentages.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Frank. And I'm not trying to be.
I didn't react like I was being disrespected. I was just kind of
okay, no. When you took a deep breath, I thought you were like, like appalled. You're like.
That's what I do. That's just what I do. Okay.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with anybody. So let's make a graph which represents 100% of the people who study Torah in the world. Okay. So most people who study Torah, they focus on the parts that affect their specific lives. So we have 613 commandments. Okay. And only about, I think, until Jews got back to Israel, only like 80 of them were available to actually, because the rest of the laws had to do with the land of Israel, with farming, with culture, with kings and with priests, the Kohanim, and all sorts of things that average Jew didn't have access to in their daily life throughout the history of the diaspora. Okay, so that's number one. So most Jews, when they study Torah, they focus on those things, how to accomplish the mitzvahs, which apply to us. Okay, so that would be like if you had to put a percentage on it, like let's say 1% of the Torah. Okay, so most people, even who study Torah, spend their time on the things that affect their life directly. There are the vastness of the Torah is as vast as the cosmos itself. If you wanted to compare what people spend most of their time studying to what it actually is, it's like, think about the earth and think about the universe. We live on earth, so that's the part of the Torah that affects us. Because remember, Torah equals reality. Okay, so Torah is what is. Okay, so how many people can even kind of plumb the depths of the Torah? Answer: no one. Okay, even though all this information is actually encoded and concentrated and can be extracted from the text of the Hebrew Scripture. Okay, so what mankind will be doing after Mashiach comes is to be plumbing the depths of the Torah for eternity, because it's eternal. So the point, what I'm actually saying is that there have been people who have existed on earth who have gone far past what 99.99% of even the greatest scholars knew about Torah. And so, and it's a lot of that stuff, there's never-ending layers of depth. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So the vast majority of Torah has never been spoken, and a lot of it can't even be spoken because the three-dimensional realm that we're in cannot even accommodate it. They literally had to go to different realms to learn certain aspects of the Torah, like Rabbi Akiva, who went to the Pardes. There's no way that they could bring back what they knew onto this realm. Okay, so AI can't go there. That's why I'm telling you that you can't have the Torah, and AI cannot. It's not capable. Our consciousness, which we only have a tiny little, our experience right now is only like a little tiny sliver of our actual full consciousness of our soul. That's what we are. Okay, we don't even have access to ourselves fully. We only have
let alone access to the entirety of the universe. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so in order for us to even really plumb the depths of Torah, our consciousness, we're going to have more access to our consciousness. Okay, the people who have tried to harm us, certainly in the past 3 years, have tried to restrict access to our consciousness.